Welcome back, y'all, and happy Tuesday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. We have an earlier stream for y'all today, so whether you're watching it live or if you're going to be watching it on the rewatch, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for that. So today, I want to talk about, I just want to update y'all on Tennessee's current transfer portal status. What's going on? What's the climate? What players are maybe Tennessee still in the runnings for? What positions are we still looking for? And we're going to be starting this off right here. I'm going to pull this up just to kind of show you all the major targets that Tennessee had, at least as far as we know. Now, there could be some targets that the staff had that the insiders didn't know about, but I got this directly from the insiders. So starting off with the offensive line, Wendell Moy, who was a guard from Arizona, and he's transferred to Tennessee. So he has committed to our Volunteers. I think that was a really big get. And next to each player, what you're going to see is a number. That number is my own personal grade for him. And obviously the staff's grade is going to differ from what mine is. I just want to put this up here just to, just like as a point of reference to show you, especially right here with the offensive line, some issues that I've already seen with what Tennessee's doing inside of the transfer portal. So Wendell Moy, I have at an 89 overall. I think he's a really good football player. I think he's going to add a lot to this team. Been some questions on could he potentially play center for us. It doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. Probably going to be playing at one of the guard spots. And I also want to point this out that I have seen in some places, and I don't know how true any of this stuff is. It's just speculation, but I have seen where people are starting to speculate, or they say that they're insiders and they have information that states that the staff doesn't feel very confident that Andre Carrick is going to be coming back next season. We kind of talked about that just based off of what Tennessee's been doing inside of the portal. Does not feel like they're overly confident that he will be back, because if he was going to be coming back, you probably only needed one more guard from the portal. But it sounds like Tennessee wants to get possibly two more. Okay, even after Wendell Moy, we might still want to go out and get two more. So the next player is going to be Josh Thompson. I had him at a 94 overall, and we missed on him. Now, he's a guy that was silently committed to Tennessee, and I think he was set to actually announce. It might have been on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day, something like that. We beat out several other programs. Everybody wanted him. Everybody wanted him. He, to me, by far the best guard inside of the portal this season. And I've talked before, if you think about Ratledge, who plays for Georgia, he's their guard. I think he's the best guard in maybe all of college football. I have Josh Thompson very close to him. Not quite there, but he's very close. So really good player. And this sounds like LSU offered him more money in the final hour than Tennessee was willing to pay. Now, the reason that this is a problem for me, and we've talked about this a million times, I told you, I'll probably keep on bringing this back up because this one I think might end up coming back to bite us. But the next player, Emmanuel Pregnon, I know a lot of y'all want to hear about him. I have him right now as a probable miss. The reason for that is it feels like he's trending more towards either Texas or Oregon. I told you once Texas was a school that he was going to be visiting. I said I'm more worried about them than I am Oregon. We don't know what's going to happen there quite yet. I will say this. I looked up when their classes start, and for Oregon, it starts January the 6th, and for LSU, it starts January the 13th. Tennessee's classes start on January the 21st. So we have some more room, but at the same time, number one, with the player that we're talking about right now, he's a graduate, so I don't know. He might be able to do online courses. The add drop date might be different for that. I have no idea, but also with these players that are getting paid so much money by these schools, by these institutions, whether it's from donors or whoever, it's all coming from big money people who have power, right? Like we all know that the world that we live in, money is power. Those people have enough power to say, hey, if we get this guy, whenever he comes in, he's going to be able to start his classes and there will be no penalty for it. You can do that whenever you have this type of money. So I don't know if the add drop date really is going to make a difference. I just want to put that out there. But it does sound like he's pretty much asking for very close to, if not more than what Josh Thompson was asking for. And we're willing to bring him in. Now, what I've seen from the insiders is that maybe they have a higher grade on the latter player over Josh Thompson. I mean, and that's possible. I just obviously I don't know everything, y'all, but I've watched hours of film on these offensive linemen, like literally hours. Y'all know I watch film for fun, like it's something I just do all the time. So I've watched enough to understand that it's pretty obvious that Josh Thompson is a better guard than Pregnon. Okay, and I have trouble saying his name, but it's obvious, right? At least to me. So whatever they're seeing there, I don't get it. It's even more, I think, of issue because we're probably not going to be getting him either. So that's not set in stone just yet, but it's really not trending towards our volunteers. And I think that is a major problem with us missing on some of these players, right? Like there's other players here that Tennessee has been, is missing on, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Let me go ahead and get to this chat right here from my dog, Lamons Jr. saying, "What's good, Bull? Go Big Orange. What's going on, Lamons? Thank you for joining us this morning." So yeah, I think that is a major problem, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the offensive line, how it could look moving forward. Like I said, Tennessee probably wants to go out and add 2 more interior offensive linemen. Might not be just a guard; it could potentially be a center too. But that's what it sounds like from the insiders at this point. Now let's come on down to the wide receivers. We all know about Zachariah Branch, who I had graded out at a 92. We missed out on him. He's going to Georgia. And also Noah Thomas, who was another wide receiver. Obviously, wide receiver is a spot that Tennessee really needs to go out and get some players at. I kind of like Noah Thomas better, just based off of what I think Tennessee needed. Now, obviously, we do need a slot player, but I think that Noah Thomas is a guy that he can do more for you, whereas Zach Branch, he's going to be limited just because of his stature. You know what I'm saying? He can't do as much. He's a true slot wide receiver that can't really play anything else. You have to kind of scheme things up to get him open down the field. And then also, there's several things that I can talk about there. But so anyway, both of those players ended up going on to UGA. So UGA got them 2 very good wide receivers. Will they make the most out of them? We don't know. But let's come on down to the next player right here. The Tennessee actually did land Amari Jefferson. I have him graded out at an 85. And it would probably be a little bit higher if it wasn't for his hip deal that he's dealing with. It's a minor surgery is what they're saying. He should be ready to go for spring. Probably still going to be limited in spring, but by the time the season starts, he should be up to full speed. It's good that he can at least get out there, run around, get used to the depth of the routes, and hopefully get used to throwing and catching with Nico. That's going to be the biggest thing. But he's a guy who can play slide, he can play outside. So he's a bigger body guy that has really good straight line speed, and he's shifty enough. He's almost like a running back playing a wide receiver. So I think that's good that Tennessee went out and got Jefferson. But at the same time, we still need 1 more wide receiver. I looked at the transfer portal currently, y'all. There is nobody, okay, really nobody that I would think that Tennessee would want to go out there and get. We'll talk about a few, potential coaching changes and things like that here in just a minute. But let's keep this thing flowing. So the D-line, these are going to be defensive tackle bodies. Up at the top, we have JVR Suggs, who I had graded out at an 80, and he went on to, I believe, Wisconsin. So we ended up missing out on him. Then the next one is James Thompson. He was from Wisconsin. I think he went to Washington State, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been somewhere else. But had him at a 74, missed out on him. Then we have David Gusta, who I had graded out at a 78, and he's not coming to Tennessee either. I believe he's going to Kentucky. So I don't know what the plan is right here at defensive tackle. We all know that Bryson Eason is supposed to be coming back. We know about Don Bailey, who's really a strong side end, but could probably play some, D tackle for you if he has to. And then he actually does within our Rabbits package. But it just doesn't feel like maybe Tennessee saw anybody that they really like. I mean, obviously, I think all 3 of these guys you probably could have added. You probably should have went out and added them. This is something else too. I just want to throw this out here real quick, because people keep on talking about the lack of money that Tennessee has and all that. I know there's some things have been circulating out there saying that Tennessee was one of the lower, one of the lower programs as far as spending money, inside of the transfer portal and all that. That's just not true. I can tell you that with inside information that I can't say too much about. That is just not true. Tennessee is one of the bigger spenders with all of this stuff. So some of these players just didn't come here because they just didn't want to. It had nothing to do with the money. They might have taken less to go other places. So let's keep that in mind. But I have no idea what Tennessee is going to do here. I think that we would be fine if we don't necessarily add another defensive tackle. I mean, we can make do. We're going to really be leaning on these freshmen, and we'll take a look at the room here in just a minute. But let's finish it out with the running backs. The only 2 running back targets that I know of, and again, they could have been more, but all I know about is Angel Johnson. That was the first guy that we talked about inside of the transfer portal, just as far as a running back body. He's a smaller guy, but very shifty. I think that he fits our scheme very well because he's like a one cut and go guy. And on the second and third levels, he can make you miss. He has good straight line speed, pretty much what Tennessee always goes out and gets from the running back spot. He's going on to Washington State, so we missed him. Then the next one, Ty Edwards. That's the big 6'4", 230-pounder from Northern Iowa. He's not going to be coming in. I believe he's going on to West Virginia. So that's another miss. So the whole point right here, y'all, is Tennessee still has some spots where we need to go out and add some more bodies to. Obviously, with the running back room, running backs are kind of a dime a dozen. We have 4 scholarship bodies right now. 2 of them will be true freshmen. You want to add at least one more body to that room. You can see how these guys graded out for me. Angel Johnson at a 78, and then I had Ty Edwards at a 75. They don't have to be game breakers or nothing. They just need to be able to fit in and take some of the load off of the other players. We need to have more bodies. We need to have more depth at that position. Again, it's kind of a dime a dozen. I think that our scheme is going to help the running backs be more productive. I don't want to say that too loud, but I do think that there is a lot of truth to that. Now, DSAP, I think that he did a lot of really good things too. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about the scheme. You need to have a little bit of both. But hopefully Tennessee can stay relatively healthy inside of that room. It's feeling like at this point, y'all, with classes starting up here soon, what's inside of the portal will probably end up carrying on over to the spring. And I think that's where Tennessee's gonna probably make some moves at. So with all that being said, right, like we can see how all this stuff looks. Let me get to some more chats right here from my dog Brian Lemon saying, is it worth being outbid for a 1-year rental Pregnon or spend that money on high school recruits? That's an excellent question. And actually, we're about to talk about that here in just a second. So excellent point. Or is it better to spend the money on portal players with more than a year of eligibility? Excellent point. Excellent question. And like I said, we will get to that. Let me get to your next thought right here. And Brian Lemons is saying, if Prom goes to the Cowboys, we need to go after Jordan Seaton. He did really well this year after a shaky start. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right here, right now. So just as far as Coach Prom going on to the Dallas Cowboys, I think that is going to happen. We've kind of said that. I believe we said it on this channel. It's something that we've talked about offline, no, for sure, that Coach Prom is going to leave whenever his kids leave. Both of his children will be leaving. Going to Dallas, though, my only question is it feels like they might be picking 12th. If he wants to go get his son is going to be a top 3 pick. So Dallas would have to mortgage away their future to be able to go out and get Deion's, quarterback son. But for the other one that plays safety, I mean, you can go get him whenever. I don't know how much of draft stock he actually has. It's probably, he's probably not necessarily a draftable player. I think he would maybe at best be an undrafted free agent. That's just how I look at it. Now, I have not watched him a lot, but that's just from what I have seen. I don't think that he's I don't think that he's one of those guys. So I don't know for sure if that's a place that, Deion is definitely going to go, because he would have to know, like Jerry Jones is going to have to tell him, hey, look, we are going to do whatever it takes to move up. And I don't know if they want to trade with the Titans, but you might have to. You might have to be able to go all the way up to the number 1 spot if you want to go out and get the quarterback that you want. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But just as far as Jordan Seaton, I mean, look, Tennessee's good at tackle. You don't want to bring in a Jordan Seaton and push out a David Sanders. I like David Sanders a lot better than Jordan Seaton. I mean, you're saying he had a shaky start. I mean, I think he had a shaky season. I was not impressed with him at all. I mean, he did not look good, and he's not going to come here to play guard. That's where Tennessee needs help at, is guard or at center. I don't see us doing that, and I don't know if there's anybody else from Colorado's team that Tennessee would really want. There's some wide receivers there that are decent. Would they be an upgrade from what Tennessee had last season? No, I think that at best it would be a lateral move. You know what I mean? Like from the guys that left out of the portal, and I'm talking about any of them. Caleb Webb, Nimrod, Squirrel. I think that at best we're talking about lateral moves. So I don't know that there's anybody, and the staff could feel totally different. We might be at the point now, y'all, where we're going to have to go out and reach for some players because there's not a whole lot left at this point. The spring portal is going to have to be very kind to us. But let me move on. Over to this. Let me show you the offensive line, right? Because we're just talking about this, Brian, about, the players that Tennessee still needs to target. It's not a tackle. You see how deep both of those rooms are with a lot of talent. It's a lot of youth, but it's very, very talented players. And I think that there's no need to bring in a Jordan Seaton, who I know his NIL was close to like $1 million. That's a lot of money. If you're not going to spend that on a guard that's proven, that you've seen play in, play out, and I'm talking about Josh Thompson, because I watched, probably every single snap that he played last season. I watched some of his stuff from previous years too. And yeah, he wasn't perfect on all of them. He got beat sometimes, but it was very, very rare. So why not spend that sort of money on a position of need with a player that you really want, as opposed to, hey, we're going to go out and get a tackle and completely disrupt all these other tackle bodies that we have that are up and comers that I think could be just as good. So if you're looking at the guard room, Andre Carrick, there's an asterisk next to his name, and I'm glad that I put that there because, again, it does not sound like he's going to be coming back, but he still could. I don't know. I'm speculating there. going off of some things that I've seen in different places and all of that. Don't know if he's coming back. So we've got Wendell Moy, who will be one of your guards, Sham Umarov possibly, Aiden Bustle maybe. Jesse Perry's a guy who could play at center. He could play at tackle. He could play at guard. I mean, I think that at this point, if Tennessee can't go out and add anybody else, he's going to have to play at guard. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't know if you want to put him at center, because if you put him at center, he came in the same class with William Satterwhite. What is William Satterwhite going to do? There's no guarantee that he doesn't transfer out, in that spring window. That could definitely happen. You do not want to do that. You don't want to mess with that room like that. So I think that, guard or tackle, I don't know if you want to give him his first opportunity at tackle or which one. How do you, what do you think about David Sanders as he's moving around and all of that? I don't know, but we've got plenty of bodies here. We have a whole lot of youth. That's my whole point here, is that I don't think that this was on purpose. I don't think that the staff is intentionally leaning on the young offensive line, because everyone's saying that, hey, we want to go out and get more players. Well, we're missing out on everybody except for Wendell Moy. That Josh Thompson thing, that is a huge problem. You had him in the boat. You didn't want to pay the money, but then a player that I had graded lower than Josh Thompson, actually I had him graded lower than the three guards that we looked at today, had him graded the absolute lowest. Not that he's a bad player, but I think that other two were significantly better. We're going to pay the guy that I have graded the lowest, more than we were willing to pay Josh Thompson. And then Josh Thompson is a player that has also played at right tackle. I don't get that. Okay, I do not get that because the other guard, he only played at guard. He didn't play anywhere else. So I think that there's a whole lot of mismanagement going on with the staff. Now let's take a look at the wide receiver room. We've looked at this several times, and I think that we've got some good bodies here. It's pretty much the exact same thing. It's almost like, these young guys are going to have to play. They're just going to have to play. I don't think that was intentional. I think that that's just where Tennessee's at right now. These guys will have to play. So we're talking about 5 through 7. Hopefully Jefferson can get up to speed, and everybody else, y'all gonna have to be ready, because they will probably play a lot. I don't know how much Tennessee's going to rotate, but it'll probably be, about what it was this past season. It could be maybe even less, but the younger guys are going to have to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Because their number is going to have to be called at some point. So just not overly, I'm just not too happy with what we're doing right now, y'all, inside the portal. Now, this is our defensive tackle room. If Bryson Easton comes back, I think that we're fine. Again, leaning on true freshmen, leaning on young guys, leaning on players that haven't played that much. So if anybody who's watching this that is a Tennessee player or any of that, you got to be ready. I mean, everywhere. You got to be ready. You're coming in as a freshman, you better be ready. Like, you need to be training like you're going to be a starter. If you were a depth piece last season, if you've never really even seen the field, you got to be ready. Like, you got to take yourself over that, the past that threshold, right? Like, you got to get through that, and you've got to get yourself ready to daggone play, because right now, Tennessee, I don't know that we just have set starters everywhere. I think that spring, it's going to be a lot of competition, a whole lot of it, and that could end up making us better. I think that it's going to be fun for us to lean on these younger guys, because like we always say, y'all, they're going to take their lumps and all that type of stuff, but they're going to be better for it. They're going to grow. And I've seen so many teams that are putting out these young offensive linemen. And, actually, who was that? Was it Notre Dame or was it Penn State? One of those teams that I think they had a freshman left tackle, And, he was playing very, very well. And he ended up getting hurt. And, I want to say that was Notre Dame. I might be misstating that. But one of those teams, they had a freshman left tackle, and then he played well. Probably wasn't that great early on, but he got better. And then, he goes down, and we saw a little bit of a drop-off from him. And I think that the guy that was playing behind him was a redshirt senior. So, yeah, I mean, the really good teams are going to play the best players. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how much time you spend inside of this program. Hey, we thank you for it. We're going to give you every opportunity, but you got to earn it on the field. So I think that, would I have liked to have gone out and closed on some players that we felt like we needed? Of course. Is it a problem to me that we didn't do that? Yes, absolutely it is. But I still have confidence in the youth of this team. So that's my whole point right there, y'all. And I think that just as far as, does Tennessee have any players that maybe we're tampering with anywhere, right? Like, we could talk about the teams that are still left, the Buckeyes and Notre Dame. Are there any players that Tennessee would want to go out there and target? There's been a whole lot of talk about Carnell Tate. I don't know that he's going to leave that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you leave that situation when their wide receiver room has been deep for a long time, probably like for the past decade. I would say at least for the past 5 to 6 years. It's been very deep. They have 4 and 5 stars that don't even see the field. Okay. And those guys are still going pro. So while some players might transfer out, Cardinal Tate, he's at least gotten rotated in next year. He's going to be one of their guys, right? He's going to be one of the top 2 guys that they go to, unless they have some freshmen that come in and are just better. Because I'm going to tell you again, they ain't scared of playing those freshmen. Jeremiah Smith is playing over some upperclassmen right now. That is a no-brainer. And a question that P had asked is, how much would Jeremiah Smith be playing if he was at Tennessee? Probably not as much. He probably wouldn't look as good because he wouldn't be seeing the field. So we got to let these young guys play. If there's a position of really high need, then we got to go get those guys. We can't just sit on our hands and say, oh, well, we'll just wait. We'll keep on pushing this thing. We'll keep on kicking this can down the road. You can't do that because we have no idea what the spring portal is going to look like. So back to my first point. We have got to be tampering. Everyone else is doing it. We can't be playing around with this stuff. If you know that you need something, go out there and talk to some guys and gauge the interest. Now, the coaches can't do it. They have 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th party guys who can do that for them. Gauge the interest, figure it out, and then bring these guys in. That's how we should be operating. I don't know if there's anybody, for Notre Dame that Tennessee would want. Their offensive linemen, they've got some really good offensive linemen. I've been impressed with offensive line all year long. So maybe one of those guys would want to transfer, if we can give them enough money, which I'm sure that we can, because we're going to have plenty of money because we missed out on so many different players. So what I think Tennessee needs to do is identify, hey, where do you want to upgrade at the most? Okay. Like, where do you feel like you really need an outside body from? Is it really interior offensive line, or do you trust these younger players? Do you think that there's any chance, or do you think that there's a really good chance? I would say over about 90% that somebody in one of those rooms can plug in and play guard for you, and that you will have enough depth behind them so that if they go down for whatever reason, it's not the end of our season. If you're not over 90% sure with that, then yeah, you need to go get another guard or 2 or however many else. Then you also have to look at the wide receiver room. Do you want to go out and get a guy? Like, do you want to go out and get a real guy, a real difference maker? Do you want to do that or not? If you just want to, hey, this guy, he's going to be really good inside of the locker room. He's a really nice guy. He's going to play really hard. He's got a nice skill set. We think that he can rotate in as a depth piece. If that's the case, then number one, for me, I'm going to say, well, why the hell are you letting the players who have been here that were the exact same thing go? Why are you letting them go? That's number one for me. Number two is, why haven't you gone out and got someone else? Because there's plenty of those bodies inside of the portal right here, right now. So I'm very confused as to what we're doing. I can't call it. I can only speculate from the outside, just like everybody else. But I can't say that I love it. I really can't. Now, I go back and forth. I say I feel like we'll be fine in some spots. In others, I don't know. Wide receiver, we've got, 7 guys I think that are true wide receivers. 3 are going to be freshmen. I mean, yeah, you can trust them, and you could end up being fine. But if you have, knock on wood, y'all, if you have 2 injuries to starting wide receivers or to any of the wide receivers, all of a sudden you're in a really bad spot. So I think you have to add a body. Sounds like we might be waiting until the springtime. I don't like that because we don't know what's going to happen there. Let me get to this next chat right here from Peace. And don't know if you already talked about it, but I'm hearing Pregnon to Oregon. Yeah, so P, thank you for joining us. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've seen. We said that it would be Oregon or Texas. That's what I read as early as this morning. But yeah, I did see on 3, they're saying that they're leaning more Oregon. I could see it. You know what I'm saying? I could see that, just because Oregon's done a really good job with their offensive line. They're going to have, I think, 2 guys go pro next season. I think one's a tackle, one might be a guard. Texas is going to have at least 2 guys on their offensive line, I believe, go pro next year. And both of them, I want to say, are tackles. But they're doing a really good job. Also, you have to think about it. Tennessee runs that tempo. We didn't run as much this past season. I don't know how good that looks to offensive linemen. We made it to the playoffs, but we got blown out. So then that just, winning cures everything. If you can, winning cures everything, because it puts players in a position to go pro, right? Like, it makes them look better. Teams want to, pro teams want to go get winners. Oh, there's an offensive lineman that came from a winning program. You look a lot better from that perspective. So, you can send more players pro, More players want to come and play for you. And hey, if we got to do the tempo to get to where we want to be, then that's fine. I think that is something and that could be part of the reason that Tennessee slowed the tempo down some. But I think that there's another part of the reason that, he probably will be going to Texas or Oregon. We talked about Texas not having state taxes, just like Tennessee does. And now I think Oregon does have state taxes. I think that it's one of the higher state taxes. I could be wrong on that. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I would think that from top to bottom, Texas would really be the best option. But if it's Oregon, hey, it's Oregon. It's not Tennessee. You know what I'm saying, Pete? Like that's my biggest issue is that how do we keep on missing? How do we keep on missing even with all this money? Because Tennessee probably had the highest offer right there too. You know what I'm saying? We got to start closing out. We got to figure some things out. We might need to make some changes. Might need to start making some daggum changes. Let me get to this next chat right here from Rashad Sanders saying, yeah, I'm not confident in what I'm seeing at all with the roster management. Hopefully they pick it up or they have a lot of confidence in the younger guys. Yeah, 100%. Like and again, see, I have confidence in those younger players. I do personally. What gives me pause and why I keep on kind of going back and forth with what I'm saying here is that I don't feel like the staff does. Because if you really had confidence in those guys, why are you going out here swinging and missing so many daggum times? That's the part that's concerning for me. That's very concerning because not only do you not trust the players that you went out and got to let them play, some of these guys are going to be juniors, y'all. Some of these guys are going to be on their third season at Tennessee. We still don't trust them. Well, what are we doing there? Like, I think that a change really does need to be made. I do. Like, I really do. Yeah, we went out and we got David Sanders, but we're not trusting these guys. So either we can't coach them once they get here, which is a problem, or we're not doing a good job of identifying who can help us out. Because four-star guys, five-star guys, by at least year 2, they should be playing. Like, they should really be playing. We got a lot of them that are sitting on the daggum bench. And it sounds like the staff is expecting for them to do that again. Excuse me. It sounds like the staff is expecting for them to do that again. And I'm talking about with the offensive line. But that's kind of happening in some other places too. D-line, we don't have that issue. We don't have that problem. There, it's like, well, we've got too many guys, so we can't rotate in everybody. Linebackers, we're rotating in players. We're doing a little bit of a better job with the safeties, but that could be better. Corners, I don't think that we had the players that could play out there as, young bucks this season. Running backs, I think that we're doing a much better job there. Obviously, Peyton Lewis played. What else do we have? Tight ends, I think that we'll play who we have. I'm talking mostly about the offensive line. I think the change probably doesn't need to be made. I'm getting to a point, y'all, where my concern level, and I'm trying not to, just go crazy with my thoughts right here or with my words. But I'm at a point, y'all, where really I'm starting to get very concerned about a lot of things. A lot of things. I need to see something. I'm starting to get worried. I need to see something. So we've got until I think maybe like this Friday is what the insiders were kind of saying, that if we don't have anybody else added by this Friday, I don't know if it was this Friday or if it was next Friday. Classes start on the 21st. So, maybe it was next Friday. Then, yeah, they were saying that they would say, yeah, it's probably some sort of an issue. So anyway, just kind of back to what I was saying. Yeah, we're going to have to start tampering. We're going to start tampering big time, and we're going to have to start, letting these young players play. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it, y'all. Just not a whole lot of positive news, and, hate that for the first video that I'm putting out this week, for it to not be too much positivity. I think that for me, though, like I said, I trust our young players. The staff is going to have to start doing it. I think that they would be fine. From Build Difference saying, I have seen wide receiver Travis Smith dominate the past 2 years in Georgia 7A and 6A football. He will be a big impact player if they use him early. I agree 1,000,000%. By August, he should be 6'4", 215 UGA, and Bama wanted him bad. Yeah, hey, listen, guys, that's an excellent point. Because, yeah, we've got a lot of players that were highly coveted that everybody wanted. But you had to let them play. And I really like what I heard from Travis Smith when he was talking about seeing Jeremiah Smith and talking about how, he was like, man, I know that I need to get faster, because he saw, hey, he not only is he big, but he's moving, right? He's big and he's moving. So those little things, and his mindset, it's in the right place of, okay, I see it. I see what the best looks like. Now, what do I need to do to get there? I love that. So let's not ruin this guy's confidence who came in and said, I want to be 1,000-yard wide receiver as a true freshman. Let's not ruin his confidence. Let's not kind of, I'm not saying that we ruined Mike Matthews' confidence, but let's not even have him considering the transfer portal by not playing him, right? Get him ready to play, because obviously it sounds like he's going to put in that work. The work ethic, the want to, the willpower, I believe, is there with all of these guys. They're all dogs. I love listening to these players talk because you get an inside look at what their mindset is. Their mindset is right. The coaching needs to be right. Get them ready. Push them. Push whatever you got to do, but you got to do it. And I'm talking about Coach Pope. I'm talking about Coach E. I'm talking about the whole doggone staff. You got to go. You got to be a dog. You got to be hungry. You can't sit back and, we got a whole bunch of bodies in here. It's a whole bunch of upperclassmen. We ain't worried about these. Hey, freshmen, you're going to get your chance. No, everybody needs to get better. We're trying to win a national championship, which means every single body has to be on national championship level. That comes from the coaches pushing them. What are we doing? Yes, put them on the field. Excellent point, man. Hey, look, you just got me fired up. Put all of them on the field. They all need to see the dog on the field. So next season, we won't have these types of issues, But yeah, I still said this several times. Coach E, I'm starting to wonder a whole lot about him, and it's not all on him, but man, he better get some off. He better get the offensive lineman that he went out and got up to speed and ready to daggum play. Whoever it is that said, "Oh no, we're not going to spend this on Josh Thompson," better be right. Better be right, because I'm going to tell you, if this team takes a significant step backwards next year, like I'm starting to kind of feel like could potentially happen, if we don't see some major changes, as much as I love this staff, as much as I love this team, I will be the first one calling for their jobs, because I'm really getting sick of it. Honestly, I am. I'm sick of the lackadaisical stuff. Right here from Rashad Sanders saying, love this staff, but they act a bit Doc Riverish at points. There it is. He said exactly what I'm saying. There it is, 100%. From my dog, D. Taylor saying, Greg Maddox had a better batting average than us in the portal this year. Oh man, hey, that's too funny. Hey, you know what, too? Just on a quick little side note, for y'all Braves fans from the 90s when we had Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, do y'all like they were actually Maddox wasn't that good at hitting. I remember Glavine being pretty good, but Smoltz was hitting home. He was hitting bombs. We actually had some pretty good hitting pitchers. That was back when the pitchers actually hit. But yeah, so I agree 1,000,000%. We have to do a lot better. From Brian Lemon saying that Pregnon has committed to Oregon, and that's confirmed. So there it is, guys. There it is. Missed out on another guy, and what we did, y'all. And I'm gonna leave this up for anyone that's coming in right now so that y'all can see what just happened. For anyone that missed it, actually, let's come on back and let's take a look at the grades that I had. Come up to the top. Look at the offensive line. Wendell Moy had him at an 85. We got him. That was an excellent job. Excellent job closing out on that by the staff. Excellent job. Love that. Next, we have Josh Thompson. I had him graded out at a 94, the highest, right? The next player who we're talking about right now, Emmanuel Pregnon, 85 overall, which is still good. Okay. The problem here, if you're just now joining us, is that we were going to pay as much or more for Pregnon than we did not pay. Then we decided not to pay for Josh Thompson, who was silently committed. And he said, "Hey, I want to come here, guys, but I got this huge offer from LSU. Can y'all match this? Can y'all even come close to matching this? Because if you can at least come close, I'm going to be at Tennessee Vol next season, blocking for Nico. Okay, it's going to be me and Moy, probably the best two guards. I had them as the best two guards in the portal this whole year. Okay, you're going to get the best two guards, and by the way, staff, I can also bump out and play tackle if we need that. Okay, because tackle is harder to play than guard is. I'm not going to say you can put anybody in at guard, but I can do a lot of different things, coach. Would you care to match the offer? Nah. No. We're good. And maybe y'all at that point they thought that Andre Carrick was going to be coming back. But see, that's why you don't just do stuff without knowing. You have to know. We didn't know, and I still don't know. Is Andre Carrick coming back or not? We don't know. But I think now they get it. Oh, wait a second. there's a chance that he might not be back. We got to go get the guys right now. They're here. Let's go. Like, let's close it. So, miss out on two guys that it kind of feels like the staff, or it doesn't kind of, it feels like the staff thought that they needed. Major issue for me. Let me get to my brother P right here saying the concern we keep missing in the portal, but at least this will force the staff to play the young guys. We can't keep holding those guys back. 100%. We gotta now. We pretty much have to play them. I don't know if it's even a realistic thought that Tennessee is going to go out and get another guard that would be, anywhere comparable, especially not to a Josh Thompson, but to any of these other players. I think that at this point, Tennessee would be, it would be fortunate for us to find a guy that we would grade out at like an 80. That would be great. But do we already have the guys right now that might be great that we could look at and say, hey, they could be an 80 or better? I think so. I think that Sham was pretty close to it. I would probably have Sham, just as a point of reference, at about 78 right now. I'd say 78, 79. There's a couple of things that he needs to get better. He'll get better as he plays more. Let him play more, and he'll get better. All right. Let's come on down to Tim Dewberry. Thank you for joining us, saying, do you think Sanders takes the Cowboy job? If so, maybe they could go after Seton. Yeah, so we talked about that earlier. I don't know what Coach Prom is going to do because, like we said, he's, one of the things that he came out here recently and said he would only take an NFL job if he can coach both of his sons. For him to get his quarterback son, then, Dallas would have to move up from 12 to top 3. That's going to take a lot. That's going to take a whole lot. So I don't know how realistic that part of it is. So I don't know if he's going to leave or not based off of that. And, it sounds like Oakland was another team that, sounded like had some interest in Dion, or he had some interest in them. I think that they're picking higher. Either way, I don't know, but I wouldn't touch Seton. Personally, I wouldn't. Will the staff go out and do it? I don't know. Maybe. Because he's a guy that we were kind of close to obviously landing coming out of high school. I don't think that he looked very good playing at tackle. Can he get a whole lot better? For sure. I mean, he's got all the talent. For sure. Didn't look good. Didn't look good last season. Didn't look good at all. Good. I mean, can he play guard? Because that's what Tennessee needs. We've got a ton of tackles. We got a lot of guys that I think look just as good, if not better, than Jordan Seton did. Those are just my thoughts. We don't know what's going to happen. The good news is at least we'll have some more options. Probably not the best options, but at least we'll have some more. From Peace saying, take our lumps early, but this team will be better for it in the long run. I think so. 100%. I think that that's where Tennessee needs to kind of get to is, hey, man, you got to start playing guys, take your lumps, and let's all just grow up. Turn the portal into more of a non-factor for this team. All right, from Tim Dewberry saying, I know he's a tackle, but he would be too good to pass on. Yeah, I mean, if you bring in Jordan Seton, like we said earlier, how does David Sanders feel? Do you want to make that trade? Because I don't. I would take David Sanders over Jordan Seton all day long. All day long. I think that he's going to be a better player. He's going to be a better tackle as a true freshman than probably Jordan Seton will be next year. But that's just me. From Volcano saying, what's your early record prediction in 2025? Right now, I think, I mean, I'm saying 8 wins, 9 wins. That's how I feel right now. 8 to 9 wins. Possibly. I mean, and it's not because I don't think that this roster is talented. That ain't it. That really ain't it. It's more of I hate to say it this way, but I'm just gonna be honest. I think that there's a little bit of incompetence in some places with this staff. That's how it feels because we come off of our playoff game getting blown out, looking like, and that was, look, the Buckeyes have a very talented roster. They ain't that much better than us. We got out coached in a major way. Our offensive scheme was horrible. Like it looked a lot more, it looked so much more basic than it did in different games. Like P and I talked about this, I think yesterday, about, man, our play calling was a lot better versus UGA. A lot better. I mean, the route combinations was way better. So, that's a big part of it. We're not blitzing whenever we're supposed to be daggum blitzing. That's something else too. We're seeing at Clemson, they started off talking about going after Coach Banks. Now they're going after Penn State's DC. Something that's been brought up too is, hey, will Penn State try to go and get Coach Banks, who used to he was their DC there before he came to Knoxville? Well, it sounds like Coach Banks isn't even he's not high up on their board at all. I think that kind of does speak volumes about what he's done as a coordinator. Now, I do think that he is a good coordinator. For me, it's just about you got to do a better job of blitzing, of seeing, hey, whatever we're starting off doing, our first game plan is not working. We got to switch something up. And I think that he can definitely get that fixed. But just wanted to kind of put that out there that there's several issues. I don't like what we're doing on the offensive line. I don't like the fact that we don't trust our young players enough to let them play. We identify, hey, we have issues here, and we can't even close the deal. We did it with Wendell Moy. Excellent job. I will continue to say that. But we missed on two other guards. Sounds like we might want to still bring in two more. That sounds a lot like incompetence to me. And maybe I'm just pissed off. I don't know. But and I mean, y'all know I'm always very, very, very positive. I think that Tennessee can get things fixed. I don't think that we're starting it off the correct way. We come off of getting blown out by the Buckeyes in the playoff game. Seems like we're mismanaging the hell out of this portal. Mismanaging the hell out of it in a very, very major way. All right, let's get to a few more from Tim Dewberry saying, I think Lance Hurd graded out at a 44 for the season. I know he was injured, but do you think that was an issue or maybe the coaching? So I think that Lance Hurd came in. Number one, I think that Lance Hurd is about as talented as David Sanders. I think that David Sanders might be just slightly more talented. But I think that Lance Hurd is definitely up there. Very, very talented player playing at tackle. Something that I've said and I've been very vocal about is that Lance Hurd looked better playing offensive line at LSU than he did at Tennessee. And he was a true freshman at LSU. Looked better, a lot better. He came here and he definitely took some steps back. Now, I think to start the season off, he was out of shape. He started to get into shape, then he got hurt, then he came back way out of shape. So I think that would explain a lot of why his grades are as low as they are. I don't think that he's, I look at Pro Football Focus's grades. I don't pay too much attention to it, right? It is a pretty decent point of reference, but they have different people that's grading different games. It's not the same set person. So that's why it's like, well, you might have been grading us a little bit harder than you graded this other team, right? So anyway, I don't think that he's a 44 overall. I think that he was solid, especially towards the end of the year. But yeah, I would put that a lot more on coaching from top to bottom. Even him coming back out of shape, I put that on coaching. Why was he out of shape? Why isn't he doing something to stay in some sort of shape? Because he came back way out of shape. Like there's out of football shape, and then there's like, oh my God, is he gonna make it through the whole game? That's how he looked versus Arkansas. That can't happen. That's on the daggum staff. From Volcano saying, do you think Josh Heupel will get back to the playoffs as a head coach? Yeah, I mean, maybe if he makes those changes, then he could get back this upcoming season. If he makes the proper changes, y'all, I'd say Tennessee 8 wins to 9 wins right now. But if the changes are made, all of a sudden I have us as a playoff team that could potentially win the whole doggone thing. Again, because we have the talent. But the staff has got to make the necessary changes. And it's not just about the way that we're coaching on the field. It's also about what are we doing off the field? Why is it that we can't go on the road and win games consistently? Whatever we're doing there needs to be changed. Switch stuff up. Okay? Like, it's cool to be loyal. As a matter of fact, I think that's great. Like, I respect the heck out of that. Yes, be loyal, but don't be loyal to a fault. If they're dragging you down, you got to let them go so that you can continue to climb. Okay? And if it's like we're holding on, I think Coach Hype was holding on to people that are dragging him, that are holding him down. That's just my thoughts. Somebody might need to go because I don't think that what we're doing right now up to this point is good enough. Now, hey, spring window, or even at the end of this window, maybe we can knock it out of the park. That would be great. I think that would be luck, unless we're tampering and we knew, hey, these guys are going to be coming open, so we're going to be patient and we're going to wait. That I love that. I love that. But if that's not the case, then if we finish strong in this portal window, it was 100% luck. And then if we go on to the spring portal, maybe we do a good job there. For me, again, unless we're tampering, that's probably luck because we have no idea who's going to go into the portal, who's going to be interested in us. Whenever they're there, you got to go get them right now. From Volcano saying, what's the floor and ceiling next year? Yeah, so I just touched on that. Yeah, I would say that the floor for me, I'm gonna say that the floor could be maybe 7 wins. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be the absolute floor, and the ceiling is still gonna be national championship. Doesn't that sound crazy that this team, that I feel like the team could just be, horrible almost, or really, really good? Because it can be. There's a lot of things that have to get fixed. And look, we weren't that far off last year. I don't think that we honestly were. Small changes can make a big difference. We need to make several small changes. And I don't like, I think that's why I'm a little bit lower on the team right now. I don't like I don't like how we're starting this thing off. Like this was our chance to, hey, wash the bad taste out of everybody's mouth from getting blown out and fix it here. We're not doing a whole lot of that. From Detailer saying, in my opinion, I think those in the know that Coach G has a lot to do with Banks' success. Hey, listen, I've heard that too. I have heard that. And it kind of feels that way too, right? Like if you think about it, the lack of blitzing, doesn't that sound like, hey, I trust what Coach G's doing up front. I trust those guys up front so much so that I'm going to be a lot more basic with my play callings. And I'm talking about Coach Banks. I'm going to be more basic with it and just trust those guys. You gotta, I think that you gotta coordinate. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be a defensive coordinator, which means that you need to be the one that, hey, this is going because of me. Now, the other people should help you out, but it should be, hey, I'm the one that's going to maximize what the other coaches have done. I'm going to maximize it. I just don't feel like Coach Banks did a good job of that this past season. I honestly don't. As good as the defense was, I think that it could have been a lot better. I'm telling you, especially in those bigger games. So Tim saying that he agrees, and Volcano saying, what about if Hypo goes 6-6 or 5-7? I mean, I don't know what you mean. What about it? Yeah, if that happens, I would be about ready for him to go. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say, we'll see what does he do after the season. If that happens, it needs to be major changes at that point. But if he has the audacity, and I don't think that would happen, but if he does have the audacity to be a 6-6 or a 5-7 team, you don't want to change anybody, really? Then yeah, I want him to go right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say, yeah, no, it's time for us to start over then. Like we're just gonna start all the way over. And look, I love Coach Heupel. Let me make sure I keep on saying that. I think that he will get it fixed. I'm just not very encouraged with how slowly the fixing of things is moving right now. It's moving way too slow. Like start fixing stuff now. From Lower Green saying that Oregon on paying millions. Oh, okay. So he's saying Oregon paying millions. I'm gonna tell you, Tennessee was prepared to pay just as much, if not more. I promise you, Tennessee has the money. Tennessee has the money. It's not about the money. I said that earlier, y'all. It is not about a lack of money. If Tennessee really wants somebody, we can go get them. We let Josh Thompson go. I don't know if I'll ever stop saying that, y'all. We just let him go. We had him, and we just let him go. I think that is a problem. From Volcano saying this team should not be missing a bowl game. No, I don't. Honestly speaking, y'all, I mean, I don't see that happening. But I was asked the question, what is the floor? And that could include a whole lot of different things. If we get to our floor, that means that, man, knock on wood, I'll just say this, a lot of things had to have happened with our roster. Just the ball never bounced our way on or off the field. A lot of things didn't happen, which resulted in several people not playing. I don't see that happening. I think the Tennessee is like we should expect playoffs all the time. That's at this point we should be expecting playoffs. And if we make the necessary changes, we'll be right back in the playoffs. From G4 saying, in my opinion, I would be shocked if Jerry offers Deion the Cowboys job. Too many candidates on the NFL level who would get that job before Deion. That's another excellent point. So I'm just going based off of the speculation of what I've seen from some people saying that, as of last night, Deion or Coach Prom was the number one candidate for that job. Now, he doesn't have, I don't think any NFL, he doesn't have any NFL coaching experience. That is a different ball game. Coaching in the NFL, because you have to be able to adjust quickly, very quickly. Like that's what NFL coaches do. Like they can adjust off of one drive. One drive, okay, we know exactly what they're doing. We're going to switch everything up, and then we're going to look better on this upcoming drive. It doesn't take them a long time. Now, can Coach Prom do that himself? I don't know, but he knows how to go out and get the people who can do that. So I think he will put together a very good staff. I mean, everybody loves Coach Prime. Everybody loves Deion Sanders, NFL people especially. So he can go out and build the staff that he wants. I can almost guarantee that. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we will probably know more on that probably within the next, I would say, week or so. We'll know how much of that smoke is actually real or if it's just smoke and mirrors. Don't know, but I would say either way for me, there really aren't too many players from Colorado that I'm too interested in going out and getting personally. The staff again could feel totally different. We'll see, but that's going to be it for this one, y'all. I just wanted to kind of get out some thoughts here and talk about the transfer portal, give y'all an update, and just let you know where I'm at personally with how things are transpiring. I think we've done some good things, but I think that we definitely could have done better. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to grade us in the transfer portal up to this point, I would give us a C minus, almost on the brink of like a D plus. And yeah, I would say it's between D plus and C minus. We're gonna have to do better, or we better hope that those young guys are very good. Actually, let me get to this last chat right here from G-Force, who is a member of the channel, saying that he agrees with everyone. What has happened so far in the transfer portal is very concerning. Okay. All right, so we're going to end it on that. But y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching this on the rewatch, of course, please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.